I'm just trying to build something that actually means something. Probably, I reckon I'll still shoot on a nifty 50 like one of these ones, like one of the Canon ones until like, I don't know, 20 years from now, just because they're decent. I used to have one of them little JVC numbers, and then I used to stick on one of them fisheye adapters. Like I literally taped it on, mate.
Oh, that was a bit loud, wasn't it? Fucking hell.
Was a bit loud. Careful of the eardrums. You need them. Especially in your business, EV Pro. In that DJ business, mate. Them CO2 cannons ain't no good for your ears, are they?
I know, tell me about it, man. Always going off.
Right. If one of them like blew directly in your ear, like you'd be buzzed, wouldn't you?
It's happened.
Really?
Yeah.
Because people blow their eardrums and then you can't like walk. Do you know that?
No, like CO2 jets all in my face, a whole lot.
Because if you blow your eardrums, basically you like you can't, like your balance is all over the gaff.
Yeah, I know.
Have you heard about that?
I have. I've heard stories. I've never met really anyone with it, but
it's dangerous because like if divers, like when they're in the water, if you're in water and you like burst your eardrum, which is easy to do in the water,
no, of course,
you don't know what way's up and then you're buggered. So.
Screw it. Anyway, welcome guys to the EGGPLOSIVE podcast. This week we got my good friends. Explosive. I haven't actually told him the title yet, so
that is sick.
Yeah, so the EGGPLOSIVE podcast. This week we got a good friend of mine. I've actually just stepped off a shoot with him last week. Very long shoot. Yeah, Mr. James Matthews.
What's going on, you lots?
So,
thanks for having me on, mate. I appreciate it.
That's cool, man. No worries. Thank you for agreeing to come on the podcast. Obviously, a totally new thing for me to try out, and obviously, yeah, you know, we want to get different sorts of people in. So, start off. Anyone who's listening who may not know who you are, give them a rundown. Explain what's your name, who you are, and what you do.
Right. So, my name's James Matthews. I'm a videographer, filmmaker / fake YouTuber, I guess. I make a couple of YouTube videos and that, but they're not that good, so I like to call myself a fake one. But yeah, so I make films for like lots of different clients, a lot of sports brands, and just lots of different fashion brands, kind of, and anything like in the kind of creative space I like to jump into. Like, cause I used to do a lot of corporate gigs and I didn't really like it so much because you can't really kind of flex your creative muscles in there so much because they always want something really uniform and kind of plastic. So I'm trying to kind of stay in that kind of creative sport, fashion, motorsport kind of environment if I can.
Nice. And so how would you sort of summarize your sort of journey from when you first got into like video creation up until say right today? So how would you sort of summarize it? What things has happened along? Give us like a timeline of sort of what's happened over the last 5 to 10 years.
Summarize, right. So I've always been into like art. Like art has been something for me that is, I'm just obsessed with artistic stuff. Like it could be anything, like the design on a can or a photograph that's shot really nicely, or just the story in the photograph. But I used to be really big on like graffiti, believe it or not. Like back in the day before I picked up a camera, I used to love drawing like graffiti in my name all over the place. Like, you know, you have like them books at school that you just like graffiti all over.
You're one of them who just doodles on all the books.
Yeah, mate. I used to get in right trouble for it, but like it was, I literally couldn't listen to what I was doing in class, and I would literally just be drawing all the time. So yeah, started out in art, and then I picked up a camera, I think when I was about like 14 years old, when I started like BMXing. Started like shooting some video of my friends at the skate park, and then slowly people started to go, oh, can you do a video for me? Can you do a video for me? I was like, yeah, of course I can, because I love doing this stuff. So started like trying on little like different lenses and stuff on this like handy cam. I used to have like one of them JVC numbers. Yeah. Dead little camera, but I used to have one of them little JVC numbers, and then I used to stick on one of them fisheye adapters. Like I literally taped it on, mate. Typical, everyone does it.
I had to do that on one of mine. I had a little, what did I have? Little Sony Handycam.
Yeah,
got off eBay, like, obviously back in the days when like you're a kid, so you haven't got much money, paper rounds or whatever. Saved up like 20 quid for this little fisheye lens, thrown it on and realised it didn't fit. So literally had to tape it, and you still had the vignette in and the black.
And you used to get like so much like crap around the edges. It just used to look so bad, but it was good at the time because it was just a bit different and everything looked different. And if someone saw you shoot with a fisheye, they were like, oh my God, what is that? That looks sick. When really it just looked like rubbish. Like you would never use it now. But yeah, so I started filming a lot of my friends at skate park and stuff like that. And then as soon as I got my first camera, like my first DSLR. I got like the 1000D, I think it was. That was like the first, like the most entry level camera. It didn't have video on it. It was just stills. I started like playing around with like depth of field. As soon as I could get something like with a shallow depth of field, I was like, oh mate, this is sick. And it was like a tiny little sensor anyway. And as soon as I could do that, I started doing like macro shooting. I was obsessed with like shooting flowers and stuff. I know it sounds a little bit of a pansy thing to do, but like shooting flowers close up. I used to love doing stuff like that. Anything that could throw out the background, I was like, mate, this is sick.
But that's good, just getting out there and actually shooting, which is what we say to people all the time. Like, how do you get started? It's like, just go out and shoot.
Exactly.
Like, it's all you need to do, man. It doesn't matter what you're shooting, just
100%,
go out and shoot.
100%. So yeah, started doing that, and then I got my first ever gig like when I started filming in like taking stills in nightclubs. So similar to what you do now, but you do video obviously. Started doing stills there, and then about 6 months later, I picked up my first Canon 550D. So for video, I was shooting on this Handycam thing, and then I picked up the 550D.
What a camera.
Oh mate, I've got it over there.
I think I've still got my one at home as well. You can never get rid of it. It's just so good, mate.
Such a ping little camera. So yeah, as soon as I got that, I just started filming everything I could. I just got the nifty 50, which I've actually still got somewhere, and just shooting with that for
We're
video.
actually shooting on nifty 50s.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Right now.
These are nifty.
Two nifty 50s.
So yeah, no, they're like the sickest lenses ever. I reckon I'll still shoot on a nifty 50, like one of these ones, like one of the Canon ones, until like, I don't know, 20 years from now, just because they're decent. So yeah, just started doing that. Then I started actually getting inquiries from like friends, like dads and stuff that have businesses, saying, James mate, like any chance you can come in and do us a little video for our company? And I was like, of course I can, like. Yeah. And then when they said they wanted to pay me, I was like, nah, come off it. This is sick. I can actually get paid for this. So yeah, started doing that. Started doing a few little videos for like friends and families who run businesses and things. And then I went to film school. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say film school kind of taught me that much. It taught me a lot about the industry, but not in terms of my, like what I can do in terms of my skill set and stuff like that. But it's a great experience nonetheless. Everyone wants to go to uni and get pissed and have a wicked time, so that's kind of what I've done. Let's not lie.
Living the life.
Yeah, exactly, mate. So went and done that. That was wicked. And then after that, mate, where do I go from there? So then I jumped out of uni, but I tried to give myself a head start by starting in my last year of uni. Just make sure that I had all my branding sorted and my website, all my social media pages. So I come out of uni and I was like, bang, hitting the ground running with like a platform to essentially show what I do. And then yeah, just everything kind of took off from there. Clients got bigger, work got more regular. But at the start of like coming out of uni, I was approaching lots of companies saying, look, can I do your video for free? Just so that I could like get my work out there and my name out there. So yeah, and then it slowly progressed on to today where I'm doing work for like slightly larger clients. So yeah, it's good fun, man. And then I started a YouTube channel, which is wicked fun, which probably a lot of the people who might actually know of me will probably know me from, not necessarily from my work, because I don't post my clients' work. I give that to them, that's their work, and then I'll just post my own stuff on YouTube. Yeah, this is one of the things I was actually going to bring up, is that, so obviously you're big on YouTube, you're doing really well on that. Obviously no, you are, man. Let's be realistic. And then your Insta's growing well as well. One thing I notice is that you're always busy, and like when we speak, you've always got stuff booked in pretty much. But I've never seen you post any of your work online. So a lot of the time, people are like, use Instagram and Facebook as your portfolios. But I feel like you obviously have gone quite a different approach to that. What's sort of like your reasoning behind that? That's a good point.
Yeah, what sort of makes you think I'm not really going to post my client work online? I mean, I do less of it now, but I used to post all my client work. So I think probably nearly 80% of all my clients have come through Instagram. Yeah. 100%. So what sort of your reasoning on that? What sort of made your mind up on that you just wanted to post sort of just your creative content rather than your actual client work? Yeah, that makes sense. So I always used to post my clients' work, like all the time, like everything that I'd done. As soon as I started to do like sports stuff and I kind of got out of the corporate world, I slowly started to stop posting my work. And I know it sounds a bit silly and it might sound a bit arrogant, but I got too busy to the point where if I posted a bit of client work, I'd get about 3 people then message me like, oh mate, can I book you? When can I book you? Yeah. And at that point I was too busy, and I had a bit of an issue where I found it so hard to say no to people, not because I didn't want to, not because I like didn't have the time. It's just I don't like letting people down.
So it was like the fear of letting down some clients by saying, yes, I can do the piece of work, when really I probably haven't got the time to do it as well as I could. So I stopped posting my client work because every time I did, I'd get so many people come to me and say, right, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And it'd just like kill me on the inside, because if I said yes to all of them people, my work would go down big time. So I stopped posting client work because I essentially didn't want to overload myself with work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're just too good, mate, basically.
No, definitely not. But I think I'm just well connected in that area. Like I had lots of people that know of me from let's say school, or I know their family's business and like other businesses and people in businesses in higher parts of that business. So I don't necessarily think it's because my work was that good. I think it's just because I knew a lot of people.
No, yeah, I think it's a really important thing you've touched on. It's something that I've done a couple of times, is that you end up burning out because you've taken on too much work and you try to please too many people, and then you say 100%. Deadlines and then you can't meet them, and then all of a sudden you don't realise, yes, you may be getting that extra money, but you're stressing yourself out. You're actually presenting a worse image of yourself because you're not hitting deadlines, and you're just causing more issues for yourself. I think something that I had to learn over the past 6 months to a year was saying no.
100%.
And you then start to pick obviously there's some people who are struggling to get gigs, but it's a weird one, because obviously you've got people who are struggling, but then you've got people, we're lucky enough to have that influx of work where you don't pick and choose, but you dedicate more time to this sort of thing because these are the sort of jobs you want to continue, whereas just get as much as you can because you need to pay the bills and so on and so forth.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's like 100% a place and a time to be posting all of your client work. Like if you're like just starting out, 100% like be posting all of your client work all the time, because you want people to see what you can offer. Like if no one can see your service, how are they going to know they want to choose you to do their video?
Exactly.
So you've got to be posting your work. Like I've made a video on how to get your first client, and that was the thing that I said to do the most. And now it's a bit hypocritical of me to now say that's not what I'm doing, because it's just because I wanted to slow down the amount of clients I had and do a better job for the select few that I had. Just so that my
I don't
work
think it's
can get better.
hypocritical. I think, sorry to interrupt you, I don't think it's hypocritical. I think it's where it's just the evolution of how you've gone through as a creator. Like at the end of the day, if you keep on promoting and you keep on getting more work and then you keep turning people down, unfortunately some people will see that as, oh yeah, James is too busy, he don't want to work with us. It's like, no, that's not the case at all. It's just that there is too much work on, to... That's
You're getting text messages from the girls again?
Well, how do I loop back in?
We'll just jump. I'll just go, sorry about that, I had a phone call.
Sorry about that. So I'd actually forgot to unmute the laptop recording. So this is actually the first podcast I'm recording. So this will probably be maybe episode 2 or 3. But yeah, it's actually the first one we're recording. So all the teething issues are getting out today.
Yeah, mate.
So anyway, jumping back in. So we've mentioned YouTube a couple of times. When did you start on that? How did you start to get traction? And what would you say drives you on it? Because I know recently you've become a lot more passionate on it.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, sort of explain that journey. Because I remember how I found you on YouTube was like through one of your MAGA holidays edits with like the lads.
Yeah.
Got like 250k views or something like that. It's on now, and never realised you were a creator. I think watched it a couple of times because I used to obviously work seasons abroad, so you just watch it for hype.
Yeah.
And then realised, clicked on your profile and like, oh, this guy actually does videos and other bits, and then that's how we started talking through Insta from that. But yeah, what would you say drives you for not Instagram, for YouTube. And it's just your drive and your passion for it?
I think it's like with every other piece of work that you do for clients, you've kind of got a brief to sit to, and you've got a brief to like hit. So for example, you sit down with a client, you say, right, what is the end goal of doing this piece of content? And they might say, right, I want this amount of people to now be aware of the brand, or I want this amount of people to go and click on the call to action to go and buy their product. So there's obviously a big theory around what you're doing for the client in terms of what the hell is the whole reason you're shooting this video.
Yeah.
But on YouTube, it's like I don't have to stick to my client's brief. Like it's my video, I can make it about whatever the hell I want to make it about. And then that allows me to kind of be more creative in my own mind and unlock like little ideas on videos that I've got and shoot it how I want to shoot it, because I haven't got like a brand or an image to kind of sit to other than mine. So that is something that really makes me enjoy YouTube, because it's not just YouTube in general, it's just posting your stuff online that isn't set to a client brief. So for me to like just post whatever I want on there, it's just amazing, because you don't need to worry about sticking to a brief. You can just do whatever you want to do. 100% creative control. Like, no one can tell you what to do and what not to do. So that's why I like YouTube. Like, it's just sick.
And how would you say, so how many subscribers you sat roughly as of
I've got
today?
about 35,000 subscribers at the moment.
Now, obviously, for those who don't know, we've actually been on a 12-week shoot, on a fitness shoot for about the last 12 weeks in the studio. And about midway through, you hit a big spike, didn't you, sort of thing?
Yeah. Well,
explain that, what happened, and then, you know, how has that maybe perhaps changed your perception of things, and has it perhaps made you think, oh, actually, you know, I need to put a lot more time into this, you know, and drive it a bit more, or has it given you a better idea sort of your audience and what sort of people are watching your videos, and how did you sort of react to that spike?
I think I was to start out, 35,000 subscribers isn't a huge amount, but I'm so appreciative of the 35,000 that I've got. Like, they're all I'm so lucky to have like a really good engagement and really good people to actually, that my audience are just sick. Like, just shout out to all of them. But the whole point of the influx, it hasn't really made me think about things differently, but I think the whole reason why I went from like sitting at 14K for like about 2 years, and then, it took me about two or 3 years to get to 14K, and then all of a sudden jumped up to 35 in like about 2 months. I think it's just because I spent more time on like titles and freaking like thumbnails and stuff like that. It's so annoying, because this is one of the reasons why like I want to like help younger creators, because I know they've got sick work, they just haven't got the metaphorical titles and thumbnails to show it off. Like, I don't see why some people's work just doesn't do as well. Well, obviously it is advertising. You're essentially advertising your video for people to see. But like, I think that's why it kind of jumped that little bit, because I spent a lot more time on my thumbnails, on my titles, when the work hasn't necessarily got better or worse. It's just the fact that I spent a little bit more time on advertising that video through the thumbnail and the title. But it hasn't made me think about things differently. All I've got now is just a larger regular amount of views.
I know, I don't want to jump in as well and say that, I hope you don't mind me saying, I know we spoke quite a few months ago, probably a year ago, and you felt that you almost got into almost like a little bit of a rut, was it, with YouTube? Like, you felt like you sort of had to do it.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying that you just wanted to start making content that you wanted to make. And I think it's been quite, you know, evident now that since you've actually started wanting to create the stuff that you wanted to make, it's, you know, that you've then seen that growth, you've then seen that definitely increase. 100%. And just you come across happier, and I think in the videos as well, you can see your personalities maybe shifted up a bit, as in like you just seem happier. Yeah,
100%. Like, because when you start YouTube, you've kind of got these expectations of wanting to do well in terms of what everyone else is doing. Like, you look at the people that are getting all the views, getting all of this kind of stuff, and like, you realise slowly that if you're kind of just chasing like, not that I was chasing that, but you kind of do get a bit down thinking, I'm not kind of, because I do think my work isn't bad work, whereas you see people that have got not that good work, but their work ethic is great to like put all the videos out, do their thumbnails and that. But you slowly think, like, I'm putting out all these videos all the time, and you're trying to fit the criteria for what does well. And then the minute that I was like, no, I'm not going to fit no criteria, the whole reason I started this was to make my own work, do what I wanted to do, and just start shooting videos that I want to shoot, and like talk about topics I want to talk about instead of what's like trending and stuff like that. That's when I started to relax, enjoy it more, shoot what I wanted to shoot, even though I was doing that at the start, but I just done it on another level as soon as I decided that's what I was going to do. But every creator gets in a creative rut, no matter what it is. Like,
hit that wall, don't you?
You hit that wall eventually due to anything really, but every so often I hit a rut just like everyone else. So never, like, people should never ever feel guilty or bad about them hitting a rut. You just need to kind of make a change.
No, definitely. And while we're on the subject of YouTube, obviously through that has now led you to be, is it an ambassador with Xeon?
Yeah, an ambassador for Xeon.
Yeah, sort of explain that relationship, how that, you know, sort of came to be, because I think it's quite an interesting one. Like, you're quite a main sort of, one of their main guys, I would say. Like, if people ever ask me about the Xeon crane or anything like that, I'm like, well, go check out. Go check out this guy.
One under the sun.
So yeah, sort of explain that, man. How did that like evolve, and how did that like come to be?
So I made like 2.5 years ago, I made a review of the original Zion crane. I don't know why. I never made a review video before, and I was just like, you know what, mate, this gimbal's sick. Like, I'm just going to make a review on it. So I reviewed it, and it was the deadest review I swear I've ever seen on YouTube, mate. Like, the lighting was off, the audio was terrible. I was shooting the audio into my RX100 that was like about 10 meters away, because I thought, oh no, there's no point in me putting tons of effort into this kind of video. It's just a review. And then that done quite well. That got over like 200,000 views. And then like Zion actually messaged me saying, oh, James, we loved that video. Can we send you one of our products? And I was like, yeah, of course you can. No worries. So like, I'd love that. Because at the time you're like, oh man, free stuff.
Yeah.
Sick. So I was like, yeah. So they sent me like one of their smooth cues, and they enjoyed that. And that was still a dead review. And then they said, right, we're coming out of the Crane 2. Do you want to use it? And I was like, absolutely, I want to use it. So they then sent me the Crane 2, and now I've just got like a relationship with them where they like will send me some of their products, and it's just like any typical thing really, like any typical like YouTuber that gets sent stuff to review. But I've said to them, if there's something that I don't like about this product, mate, I'm going to say it, because like my audience is so much more important than like just having a good relationship with a company. But every single product that's come out from Zion, I've absolutely loved. The team are awesome. Like, I think they create like amazing products at really affordable prices, and I think that gimbals have transformed the way that I shoot things without a doubt. So yeah, mate, like they're just an awesome company, really.
Oh, wicked, man. And also through them, they've also given you the opportunity sort of to travel to different places. Yeah. And was it NAB?
Yeah. So I went to NAB back in March last year, and I got to meet like all the other ambassadors, mate, and it was like the sickest thing ever. Like that for me, that was like the like realization that YouTube isn't just a platform. It's like it's a community of people that are just so sick, so like-minded, and I just had such a good time meeting them people. That for me was like the best thing, like in terms of YouTube, that's ever happened to me, for sure.
Sweet, man. I understand you also finessed yourself into a little party as well.
Oh yeah, finesse. Well, Aperture Tech. Actually, well, is it Aperture Tech or is it just Aperture? Aperture, the lighting company. They invited some of the ambassadors, basically. Sorry, Neris, if you're listening to this, but they invited some of the ambassadors to their like secret party, and like I went up to him and I said, oh, Neris, like I've heard you're having like a little bit of a party tonight, like what's the deal? And he was like, oh yeah, so we just invited some of our ambassadors. Didn't invite me. I was like, oh, this is so dead. Like all of my mates are going tonight, I'm the only one who ain't going. And to be fair, I was the smallest YouTuber, like I've got like no subscribers and whatever, so I'm just chilling with them thinking, shit, like, oh, I didn't mean to swear, but they're going out tonight. It's
cool, man, you can swear on the podcast. It's all good.
They're going out tonight to this sick secret Aperture dinner event, yeah, and I'm going to be stuck in my hotel doing nothing. So I was like, oh, sod this. So I went back up to him with my mate Jason Vong, who's a bit of a big dog. Big up Jason Vong, yeah. So I went back up to Aperture Neris. That's what like, their names on Instagram. Yeah. That's kind of how I know now. But he's like one of the coolest guys I've actually ever met. And he was like to Jason and Josh and everyone else. They're like, oh, so you're coming to the dinner tonight, yeah? And I was just kind of standing there like, and it was like, oh well, you know what, James, you can come as well. And I was like, get in. Got one of these like silver little metal invites, mate, and it literally was like the coolest thing ever. Went there, you got people like Philip Bloom there, you got like Devin Supertramp and like all of these mad like big people in the industry, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, how the hell have I like ended up here, mate? Like,
the ultimate finesse.
Yeah, drinking champagne and that, and I'm like, this is alright.
Devin Supertramp to your right,
mate.
Philip
Devin
to your left.
Yeah, literally sitting there. I'm like, mate, this is mad. But man, yeah, Aperture, like the fact that they just put on that event just for their little group of people just shows how much they actually care about the community.
Yeah,
like
not something that was like publicised as well. It is literally just a little thing they've done to look after their sort of their ambassadors, the guys who help promote them.
Exactly, mate. Like, just they're a sick little company.
We could also, how important do you feel that networking is? So obviously, in a world now of social media, everyone's sort of moving sort of in different circles, but also everyone's able to connect with people. So we can connect with someone up north or in a different country. I know you've done it as well. When you go to another country, just put on Instagram, oh, anyone want to shoot. Next thing you know, like you're shooting shotguns in Texas.
Yeah.
Like I managed to meet a guy I've chatted to on Instagram in Miami. We're on like Miami Beach shooting loads of cool stuff. So like, how important do you feel networking is in sort of this day and age, and getting your name out there, not in terms of just videographer to videographer or content creator to content creator, but as in people just being aware that you sort of shoot content in terms of businesses and potential clients.
So essentially, networking is like the most important thing you need to do right at the start of when you're starting out, because once you actually build up your network, the people that are in your network have also got their own little network. And so say for example you've got 10 people in your 10 decent people in your network. They've got a network of 10 other decent people. You're just one of them 10. So if I'm doing a job for a client and I've got another client who knows one of their clients or their friends needs a decent video doing, my client will then refer me to them. So whereas at first I was always trying to go direct to people to network to see if they wanted a video, that's not necessarily the case now. So say for example I've got client X now. Client X will have their own network, and then they will refer me to a client who I am completely open to working with because they are a client of client X and I trust client X.
Yeah, and it's almost half the job of almost getting them to book you is sort of done because someone else has already sung your praise, and word of mouth is so powerful.
100%.
It's like, if you can get someone else to sell it for you. I've done it before. If I meet new people, I know some people, when they meet new people, they might be like, oh yeah, I'm a videographer, like, do you want this done? I'm sort of, no, hi, I'm Reese. They're like, oh, what do you do? Oh, like, I shoot content, like, videographer. Oh, cool, like, funny you should mention that. Like, actually need, like, don't put pressure on it straight away.
100%.
Like, actually, you know, just end up being friends with some people, and then you actually, then they end up putting work through you and
yes, for
clients.
Sure, 100%.
No, yeah, I think networking is super important.
At the start, it's building up that network of 10. But obviously, I'm like, as we all should be, completely open to expanding that 10 people network. But I think once you get to that point where you've got like your 10 people that you really like working for, they respect you and what you do, and they like the gigs are good, it's interesting stuff that you actually want to shoot, you find yourself expanding that 10 because of their networks. So yeah, if you're starting out, 100% you need to build like a really good network around you, like however that is through social media or literally going to, I went to a few networking events and stuff like that just because one of my friends dragged me to it. Wasn't necessarily for me because I wasn't trying to get more work, I was just trying to get better work. Does that make sense? I wasn't trying to like get more quantity of work, I was just trying to make sure that the clients and the work I was doing for was better essentially. But yeah, it's massively important, even down to like the stuff you were saying when I met up with a subscriber in Texas, like just having a good network of like good people around you is so important. So you can kind of go anywhere in the world, shoot with cool people that are clearly into the same thing as you, just because you've built up that social media kind of presence, and then you can essentially use that for when you're going places and people can use you. So it's like a two-way bit of traffic.
No, yeah, 100%, man. I think now as well, let's delve into create. So obviously, if people,
and I really appreciate you wearing your hoodie today as well.
Of course,
mate.
man, I had
so
to
sick.
come and represent.
Yeah, I appreciate
it.
I
love this black one, man. I've waited long enough for it to come out. So
yeah, mate.
No, yeah. So obviously, it's a brand for creators. We've obviously seen it grow sort of in our little video community, quite well, like quite quickly. I don't feel I should explain anymore. I feel like you should sort of explain on this one.
All right, I'll go into it.
So what's the idea behind it? Or give people, firstly, what is it? Explain it to people what it is.
Right.
Because obviously some people watching think like, you know, what is this? Video, guys, if you're watching, you'll be able to see I'm in the black hoodie.
You plugging it? Is that what you're doing right now? You plugging it, mate?
Use
Sick.
code. James obviously in the white tee. But for the audio listeners, explain what is Search Create.
Cool. So Search and Create is essentially, I don't even really know what it is yet, but I know what I want it to be eventually. I first started out like thinking of, when I first started my YouTube channel, I was like, what the hell do I wear in my videos? And I kind of come up with this idea for a t-shirt, and then I kind of had lots of different thoughts that kind of all conjoined into what I think would make like the perfect brand for creators. And it's not necessarily a brand in terms of, right, we're just going to sell clothes and hopefully it'll like inspire creators. I wanted it to be like an actual mindset and a message behind especially younger creators, because like in our day and age, I remember when I was growing up, it was so uncool to have a camera and be a photographer, mate. If you're not out with the boys playing football or down the pub or doing something, if you're doing something creative, it just ain't that cool. Like, but nowadays I do find that it's actually cool to be a creator, because I like, after being the way I was, it wasn't like terrible, but I just used to feel embarrassed to get my camera out back in the day, and just like own a DSLR and like try and be a bit of a Peter Parker.
I mean, I know exactly, literally how that feels. So I remember I was, what year, probably 8, year 9, had a little Sony Handycam, making just videos and stuff for YouTube, just little stuff with my friends, make little movies on the old Sony Vegas. But it was so frowned upon, when now everyone's a creator, you know, it's, as you say, like the common, it's a popular thing to do now.
Yeah.
There's none of that sort of stigma, I guess, sort of on it.
100%. So the plan is with the Search and Create brand is essentially, I don't ever want like a young creator or a creator starting out, you don't even have to be young, to ever feel like they shouldn't be able to feel completely proud of what they're doing and like what is in their head. Because if you're a creator, you've got something in your head that you just have to do something with your creativity. And I just want like everyone who's starting out to not be like paralyzed by the thought of this ain't cool. Like, why am I trying to do this? Like, if everyone could literally like wake up, as in today's day and age, that if you're like a 13-year-old kid and you're walking down the street with like a DSLR, you're pretty cool. Do you know what I mean? Whereas back in the day, when I used to walk around with my camera, I was almost just embarrassed to get it out and just shoot and express what I wanted to express through creativity. So I wanted the Search and Create brand to be a brand that people can kind of go to, that shows that they are proud to be a creator. Like, that's the whole point of like the whole logo. Like, it just says create, like nothing else. That's exactly what you're there to do, and it says it on the tin, and it shows people that you meet what you're about. Like, every time I see, like, whenever someone sees me in this t-shirt, they say, "Oh, what's that?" Like, they're intrigued by it, and then they're intrigued by what you do. Good. So, and the whole reason behind like the community part is I want to build like a community where people can learn and also like come to, in terms of like growing themselves to get jobs, and also further down the line, I want to go out to schools and kit out schools with like a couple of cameras, a couple of laptops to edit on, and then do like a 1 or 2 day masterclass to just teach kids how to just shoot photos or video. Because you never know, further down the line, that 2 day little mentorship or whatever you want to call it, masterclass, might have just inspired one kid to be like, yeah mate, I'm going to be a photographer, or yes, I'm going to be a videographer, and not go down the typical route of going into London, getting your job, and kind of living life how society's told you to live life for like the last like 50 years. So yeah, that's like the eventual plan. But yeah man, it's just good fun. I'm just trying to build something that actually means something. That's
really good, and I think the simplicity behind it as well is literally just a logo, middle of the T, that says create. Like, it's crazy as well that it's never been done before. Like,
that's one of the reasons why I had to do it.
It's just so weird. Like, when you think about it, I'm like, it's such a basic idea and no one's thought of it, obviously apart from yourself. And it's
because I actually thought about it for a very long time before I actually said no, like I'm gonna do this because I need to do it. And yeah, so I don't know why no one did do it before, because it is so simple and it kind of hits the nail on the head. But yeah, I'm glad we did do it now, and hopefully we can push it in the right direction. But everyone who does support the brand and like buys the clothing is honestly like supporting a much bigger movement. So I've got to thank everyone for supporting it, like big time.
No, I think touching on what you just said there as well, like the whole community, sort of, you know, all our like group, our circle, like they all support it, like
yeah, big time.
And you know, and people want it. Like when we did like one of the meetups, like there was I don't know, 70% of people were in like a Search Create tee, and it's mate. We go from where we did one before, where I think it was just maybe you and one other wearing one, to where we're all meeting at the photography show, and it's like,
yeah, mate, it's so sick.
Everyone's in Search Create.
And you can see the movement happening, can't you?
Yeah,
like, you can see like people like being more proud to be there and be a part of this thing. So I think that's why, for me, that's one of the most inspiring things about it. Just trying to bring like-minded people together and be proud of your creativity, mate. Because that is essentially what you're going to do with your life. If you're a creative person, you're going to do something creatively. Yeah. So don't ever feel like insignificant or embarrassed to kind of show and do what you want to do, basically.
No, wicked, man. And I sort of want to round off on is not where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years, but where do you see yourself in 18 months?
18 months? Mate, how do you think about that? I see myself working a lot more on the brand, trying to find ways that can help people and essentially build that community part. I want to do like actual structured meetups, not let's all meet up in a freaking like
Trafalgar Square when it's -5 outside in October.
I actually want to find a way that we can like provide value to people, and just find a way that we can actually help people develop their skills, develop their client base, develop their networks, like what we were talking about earlier. So I definitely want to spend more time on Search and Create. I also want to be doing less work. I would prefer to do 1 gig a month and it be like a big campaign gig for whoever, rather than doing, let's say, like 1 or 2 gigs every single week, because then the quality and the size of the gig isn't so big. I want to make work that is actually powerful and impactful instead of just doing little bits of nitty gritty here and there. So eventually I do want to not cut off, but slowly stop doing the little pieces of content and do more powerful pieces of content that hit people harder and actually mean something. So yeah, fingers crossed that's where it goes in 18 months.
Sweet, man. Wicked. Well, before we round it off, is there anything you want to plug? Obviously your YouTube, your Insta, the Search Create brand. This is your moment. Plug away.
I don't actually want to plug. I just want to, everyone that does follow me, I just want to say thanks for following me. Hopefully we can do some awesome stuff. If you do want to go and check out the brand, I'm sure there'll be a link somewhere, but do not feel obliged to do it. It's literally just something that hopefully will build people's confidence in what they do. But yeah, man, I've been James. That's it, really. That's my plug. So yeah, mate, I really appreciate you having me on, mate. It's been good.
No, I appreciate you for...
And look at me in my Hugh Hefner sofa and all, mate. I got you sat on a chair and I'm in the sofa,
that's
mate.
Cool. I appreciate you, man. Also, let me do this. This is actually the first one we're recording. I know I mentioned it earlier, but as I say, I've known James fairly well. We've been working together every day for the last 12 weeks, including living together. Yeah, so we've probably had enough of each other by now. But
yeah, mate, get out of here, son. I'm done with you.
But no, guys, whatever platform you're listening or watching on, as James mentioned, all of his links, all the social media stuff will all be in the description, including the Search Create. If you can subscribe, rate the podcast as well, it all helps. And
yeah, we better not be getting dead ratings. If we get dead ratings,
we don't want no 1-star, 2-star rating, 5-star it. Help us out. We're starting.
No dead
Hopefully,
ratings.
this is the start of something. Thanks to the geezer, Mr. James
Anytime, bruv. Anytime. Was that a handout?
We got it. That's all good.
I couldn't tell. I was like, mate, is he going to shake me hand
just
or what?
Left your hand just hanging there. But no worries. Thanks for listening, guys, and I will see you on the next episode.
Peace out. Sweet.